Well, I can't say it gives me much honor to wear this hat, but I'm going to do it for this week on Picks on the Bluff. Welcome to college week 2. Camera problems week 1, so we didn't have if you saw us on our Facebook page, which a link will be in the description, so you can keep up with us. Our camera didn't record right, so we didn't get a first episode. So we'll go ahead and get to the games for week 2. If you want to, I don't have the standings written down, but the standings will be, we'll put them right here for you for just a second, and they're gone. Okay, let's get to the games of week 2. We're going to start off with Citadel at number 1 Wake Forest, who had a scare with Oklahoma State week 1, which they still got by. This shouldn't be much of a scare for them. Wake Forest gets a win. Florida Atlantic at number 2 Alabama. I don't think Alabama will have much problem here either. Alabama wins. I did pick Florida State for the first one. Number 7 Michigan State at number 3 Oregon. Now this is going to be a tough one to pick. I have Michigan State winning their conference and going to whatever bowl they go to, or whatever they're doing this year since it's at the playoff. And you know, I don't agree with the whole playoff system, but Oregon, they blew out their opponent. Michigan State blew out their opponent, but they were both playing nobodies. I'm going with the upset. This is my upset alert for the week. Michigan State wins this one. Alright, number 4 Oklahoma at Tulsa. They're already saying Oklahoma's in the top 4, but the AP poll, the AP polls already got them in the top 4, and they're already saying Oklahoma goes to the playoffs. They're going to win this week, but I don't think they go to the playoffs in the end. They're probably going to get beat down the line by somebody. I mean, Oklahoma State might give them a run. San Jose State at number 5 Auburn. Auburn put the beating on Arkansas pretty bad last week, and I'm going to have to stick with Auburn this week again. What I meant to say was Auburn put the beating on Arkansas last week, and they're going to put the beating on San Jose State this week. Here's a shocking game. I didn't expect this one to happen. Virginia Tech at number 8 Ohio State. If anybody was paying attention last week, Navy, I think it was giving Ohio State a run for their money until about the last half of the game. I'm going to have to stick with Ohio State in this game, not because I like them, and you never know. Virginia Tech might surprise somebody. Oh, we have good lighting. The camera's not lighting good, but you can see me. But I like Ohio State in this one. Lamar at number 9 Texas A&M, who crushed South Carolina in a beautiful display last week. I'm going to stick with A&M, even though I haven't liked A&M in the past because of the whole Johnny football thing. I'm sticking with A&M on this one. Northwestern State at number 10 Baylor. Baylor didn't have any trouble last week. Gonna stick with Baylor. Memphis at number 11 UCLA. UCLA gets it done. It's still the early weeks of the season. They're playing nobody except for maybe the SEC. You play anybody in the SEC except maybe Vanderbilt, and you're playing a good team. So UCLA beats Memphis. Sam Houston at number 12 LSU. LSU came back and scored 15 points in the fourth quarter to beat Wisconsin, which I went to bed because I thought that game was over in the third quarter. But there goes to show you, anybody can pull out a game anytime. LSU beat Sam Houston, though, by big. It's another big game. We got number 14 USC at number 13 Stanford. What can I say? I could pick USC on this one because they usually can figure out a way to pull a game out. And then there's Stanford, who usually wins the big games. I'm sticking with Stanford on this one. I think USC, they just showed they could beat a bad Fresno State team last week, and I can't recall who Stanford played, but Stanford wins. Ole Miss, who trampled Boise State, plays Vanderbilt, who got killed with their unique uniforms that they should have got a penalty on, but they had NCAA's authority to wear, and they had a whole big scandal about that, and read some stuff about that. But we're not going to get into that because this is a pick show. Ole Miss wins this by a lot. Michigan at number 16, Notre Dame. Notre Dame didn't play. They played Rice last week. But you can say the same thing with Michigan State playing Appalachian State, getting their revenge. But I'm going to pick the upset here. I'm going with Michigan State. Not because I think Michigan is a better team. It's just you got to have a big upset. I mean, I already picked Michigan State to beat Oregon, but that wasn't a really big upset. That's two top 10 teams playing against each other. But this is an upset. An unranked team beating a top 16 team. Let's go Michigan over Notre Dame. Number 7, Arizona State against New Mexico. Arizona State wins this one handedly. West Illinois against number 18, Wisconsin. This is an easy pick, Wisconsin. Next one. McNeese State at Nebraska. Another easy one to pick. Nebraska wins this whole-handedly. Number 20, Kansas State at Iowa State. What can I say? Another easy one. Kansas State wins. East Carolina against the number 21 South Carolina team who got trampled. It was beautiful. It's beautiful for any Clemson fan out there. But I gotta pick South Carolina because East Carolina is just not a Texas A&M team. San Diego State at number 22 North Carolina, which actually fell a spot, I think, even though they beat big whoever they were playing last week. But still, I'm going to go with North Carolina here. South Carolina State at number 23 Clemson, who fell all the way from 16 because we got killed in the second half by Georgia. We're not going to talk about that much, but Clemson beat South Carolina State any day of the week. Number 24, Missouri at Toledo. The SEC team gets a win here, Missouri. And finally, Murray State plays number 25, Louisville. Let's just talk about something for a minute. Did anybody watch that game, Louisville-Miami? Those two teams' uniforms were sick looking. Louisville had a black helmet with the cardinal outlined in red, and then the rest of it was black, and Miami had a green helmet. I mean, where do these people come up with this stuff? They were cool to look at, but, some people. But I like Louisville in this one. Murray State, it's just, Murray State. Now for our quick picks, we quick pick the ACC and the SEC games that are not ranked. Starting off with Pittsburgh at Boston College, which is Friday night. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh, who killed whoever they were playing 62-0. Richmond Spiders at Virginia, who almost beat UCLA. I was pulling for Virginia in that one. I'm going to go with Virginia in this one. Georgia Tech at Tulane. Georgia Tech got the win over Wofford last week. I'm going to go with Georgia Tech. Old Dominion at North Carolina State, who almost lost to Georgia Southern. And I know that the people around here were pulling for Georgia Southern because, Georgia Southern from my location is about 2-3 hours away. But I'm going North Carolina State here. Gardner-Webb at Wake Forest. Wake Forest wins this one. Florida A&M at Miami, Florida. Miami gets the win, getting their first win of the season. Duke at Troy. Duke wins this one. To the SEC games, Arkansas State at Tennessee. Good old Rocky Top wins again. UAB at Mississippi State. Mississippi State showed they could play against Southern Miss. Mississippi State gets the win. Ohio at Kentucky. This one's tough. I'm going to go with Kentucky on this one. I'll probably get it wrong, but East Michigan at Florida, who hasn't played yet because their game got suspended. And since it got suspended, we didn't get to pick it. It was just counted as everybody's loss, even if they picked Idaho or Florida. I'm going to go Florida here. And finally, to end the To end week 2, we have Nicholas State at Arkansas. Arkansas showed they could hang with a team like Auburn. They will kill Nicholas State. So that ends week 2. Stay tuned for NFL week 1. I'm your host, Curse Mark Reed, and we'll see you next time. Oh yes, and be sure to check our Facebook, and I guess you can subscribe to my Twitter and subscribe to the channel. So, until next time.